Alright. It's been a while, chat. I think it's time. Ilaria has been in ranked for about a week. I've actually been playing a lot of ranked in the last couple weeks. So I think it's time we do a Season 6 pre-mid-season patch tier list. So, obviously these things will probably change when the mid-season patch comes out in like 2 weeks or so. But at least for now, unless there's major changes, it'll probably stay somewhat similar. Chat, we'll start with tanks. I'm gonna just give you the hottest take I've got right off the bat. I don't think there's an S tier tank right now. I think, and this is not pro play, this is ranked play. I'm gonna obviously be looking at this from a top 500 POV, because that's what I am. But I will try to at least talk about things that, like, I think other ranks are probably dealing with. For example, like, the wall of Orisa. I don't think there's actually a single tank that I would say is S tier. S tier is what I think of, like, you pick, you're gonna win almost every time. If they don't pick it, slash, it's so impactful that you need to have it, or close to having it. So first up, we'll start with Winston. I think Winston's still pretty good. I think he has a place. Actually, I don't know if I want to put him A. I might actually knock him to B. No, he's still got a good place, at least right now. On certain maps, Winston can still be pretty good, but I'm debating putting him maybe in B because D.Va, I think, is just better. I'll leave him there for now. I think that it's still good, can have a lot of impact, but it's miserable. D.Va's really good, Orisa's really good, Ramattra is still, like, okay. Not great, but, like, he's still, like, okay. Bastion's really good, Torb's really good, Soldier's really good, Echo's pretty good, Ilari's really good, Zen's okay, but, like, you know, you don't really play Winston against Zen. Or, sorry, you don't play Zen against Winston that much. But Bap's really good, Kiri's still good, Lifeweaver, Brig is still really good, Ana's still mostly good. I'll leave him at A for now, but I'm willing to change it, we'll see. Zarya, I actually would throw again at the A tier. Zarya is really good right now. But I also think the reason why people are playing Zarya is because Orisa's so good. How do I explain this? Like, damage and healing are crazy right now across the board, right? Zarya is one of the few tanks that you feel like you can actually secure kills with without follow-up. Like, you actually can kill something. But even so, it's still hard. Like, I was just playing a game of ranked before this. You guys watched me walk on a BAP with 100 charge and 2 bubbles up. He pops window, and I actually couldn't kill him. Like, it wasn't possible. I know it's window between his lamp and his shift, plus the extra damage coming in. I exploded. I literally instantly died. But Zarya, I would say, is still really good. Good against Orisa, even though Orisa's really, really good and really, really strong. So overall, I'd say Zarya's really good. D.Va, I'd also throw in this category. I think D.Va is arguably better than Winston. Like, Winston's somewhere in the B+ range for me right now, but D.Va's just better, like, better than Winston. Ilari's pretty good for comp, so, like, eating the Sun ult is really good with D.Va. Yeah, you can block it with Bubble, but you don't have Bubble up as often as you had Defense Matrix up, so it's a little bit harder. The only thing with, I would say, like, actual dive, like, you're running dive DPS, Winston's better. If you're running a poke comp, like, you're running, like, Ashe, Widow, Hanzo, Soldier, I would probably play D.Va, because you're just going to sit back and protect them more than, like, actually go in, right? So, I think there's a bit of give and take, but regardless, though, even on D.Va, I feel like a lot of times, if the enemy team is playing together and their supports are any bit aware, you kind of can't really secure any kills. You kind of have to go W key onto somebody and hope that, like, nobody's paying attention. Ramattra. I would put Ramattra as a solid B. He's still good. Still has his place. But unfortunately, the reason why I wouldn't put Ramattra any higher is when we get to this demon horse here in a bit. We'll get to the demon horse in a bit, but basically this Orisa gatekeeps the shit out of Ramattra. So he's still good. But if they have an Orisa, you might as well, like, you know, he's gonna fall really fast. But as a character overall, still good against Sig, still good against Rein, pretty okay actually against Zarya, okay against D.Va, like, but, like, if they're running D.Va on maps where, like, let's say it's like King's Row, like something where it's linear, then why are you playing D.Va anyways? So I think Ramattra's not bad, just kind of forced out of meta. Sigma, I'd throw Sigma as well in this B tier. I think Sigma's pretty good on certain maps, like your Circuit Royales is a good example. Still good for poke, still good at, like, keeping people away. And actually isn't even that bad versus Orisa. It's actually pretty decent versus Orisa. Unfortunately, though, I just don't think he's as good as Orisa, and I don't think he's as good as, say, Winston, and is not as good at damage as, say, Zarya. So I will throw him in the B tier, and that's where we'll leave him. Junker Queen. I think Junker Queen's not that bad. I actually think she's not that bad. There's just no reason to play her. I'm going to put her in the C category. I'm going to put her in the C. I don't think she's bad. I just think that the meta is so anti-Junker Queen. Without any shield or any extra... Like, she took a big nerf with her shout. Her shout gives less heals to herself. With Alari, with Zen, Bap, Kiri being the big scaries versus her. And then you also have characters like Bastion that are really good. Soldier's really good. Pharah's pretty good. Sojourn's pretty good. Sombra's still good. Reaper's good. Torb's good. Widow is still okay. Like, it just kind of puts her in a spot where she can't do a lot. If that makes any sense. So, like, she's not bad. It just doesn't do as much as some of the other tanks. Rein, I'm going to also throw in the C tier category. Rein's kind of miserable right now. I would actually maybe even put him in D, but I'm a save that for someone else. I think Rein's are just not fun right now. He's really bad. Orisa hard gatekeeps. Ramatra's kind of gatekeeps. You're not going to be playing Rein versus Diva and Winston. Rein versus Zarya isn't the worst, actually, but there's just so much damage that a lot of times your shield actually doesn't work, and you don't get Lucios that often, because people are playing like Alari, Ana, Bap, Lifeweaver, Kiri, Moira, Mercy, Zen. I just haven't seen a whole lot of Lucio players recently, so... Without the Lucio, you don't even have a chance on Rein. That's the point. You literally need a Lucio, and if you don't have a Lucio, you're just off spawn. So, I'll give him a solid C. Doomfist, I'm also going to give a solid C. I think the good Doom players can really perform. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to give him a C. I'm actually going to give him a B. The good Doomfist players can eat. The good Doomfist players actually eat like crazy. Unfortunately, though, Orisa's still really good. So I might actually bump him back down to C. But that doesn't mean he's not good. Just Orisa gatekeeps. Orisa gatekeeps 1, 2, 3, 4 characters on this list. So if I was gonna if I had like B+, B-, I would say probably Doomfist is like a B-. But the thing is with Doom is such a high skill character. It's like, how do you rank him, right? Do you rank him based off of the people that are really good at Doom or the average shitty Doom player? Which one do you rank it as? I'm gonna rank him off of the assumption that the people that play him know how to play him. I think that's how you should probably do it. No, I don't think you should say average shitty. Because if you don't know how to play a character and you're playing it, that doesn't mean that the character's bad. That just means you suck. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I would rather rank it off the good Doomfist players the same way we rank Widow. We rank Widow off of good Widow players, not shitty Widow players, right? Like, Widow wasn't S tier a few seasons ago because in Bronze nobody can hit a shot. Like that doesn't make her F tier, right? So I would say I would put him at B. Hard gate kept by Orisa though, so this is like an asterisk B, B-. Orisa gets an easy A. If you were here at the beginning, I gave you guys a bit of a hot take, and I said that I don't think any tanks are S tier this season. Even in Overwatch League, there's a lot of diversity, and a lot of people think Orisa's really strong. But I'm telling you, as the person who plays Orisa, the strongest part of Orisa is you don't die. And if you leave her alone and, like, nobody keeps her in check, yes, you can get a free kill or two, and, like, that's spooky. But if you're keeping the Orisa even somewhat in check, you just stand there and don't die. But that's not good tank play. That's not you doing anything. Like, you're kind of limited by what's happening around you. She's almost like a really shitty bouncer, if that makes sense. She just keeps people away and sometimes can, like, sneak off to the side and pick them one up, but, like, that's rare. So I would say she's probably an A tier. And if you play against a team that doesn't understand that if you shoot the Orisa when she has Fortify, then you're probably f***ed. What you need to understand, if the Orisa has Fortify, don't shoot her. There's no point. Literally shoot somebody else. You shoot her, force her Fortify, and then you shoot someone else for a little bit, and then once it's over, all in. Just killer. All-in killer. She will die. I promise you, as the person who plays Orisa in ranked. Literally wait out the fortify. It's 4 seconds. I know it's annoying, but not many Orisas know how to use it properly anyways. Orisa, I would say, is A tier with the rest of them, but I'm not going to give her S, even though there's definitely people that would agree, or sorry, people that would argue that she's S. I don't agree. Hog. Okay, hear me out on this. Hog is pretty dog shit. But for some reason, it actually works in certain places. If they have really high damage comps, but not like shutdown abilities, because everyone just sits there and spams damage and healing. For example, Bastion, Torb, or Bastion Soldier comps. The Hog players are still making it work. That's the scary part. The Hog players, rank 2 EU is a Hog OTP. You're right, it is. It is. I actually don't even think Hog is that bad. I think if you're good at Hog and you play him in certain situations, he can work. But I wouldn't say he's as good as like Junker Queen or Rhyme. I think that's a little too far. Because I can actually see places where this is like niche and will work. Hog is kind of like a, well, I don't know what else to do. But I'm not going to put him in F. The last tank, Ball. This is going to be a bit of a hot take, but I think Ball could easily be A, but unfortunately Sombra's really good. And so basically, no matter what you're doing on Ball, you could be the best Ball of all time. Their Sombra just hacks you every time you do anything and you just die instantly. So Ball isn't necessarily bad. It's the same thing that happened back in season 3? What was it? It was like season 3 or something. Point is, Ball isn't bad. It's just everyone else that is good against Ball, I think, is really good. So same thing happened in season 3 or 4 when they buffed Ball. Remember they made some changes to Ball? I remember saying beforehand, there's actually an old tier list. You could probably go find it on Flats 2. I bet we could go find it, where I said, I don't think Ball is bad. I think the meta just doesn't favor him, and Sombra's good. So Ball doesn't need buffs, and I don't think he's bad. I just think that Sombra exists, and so there's no point, right? Like, there's just better stuff to do. Plus, if we're talking about, like, damage and healing, Ball doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. He just does much more displacement shit. So, if anything, I don't know. He's pretty good. I think this is probably pretty fair for tanks. I don't see anyone as S. I don't see anyone as F. This group right here is hurting. Like, I know I put them at B, C, and D, but they're hurting. Like, this group up top is just so much better. And Winston's, like, kind of in the middle. I don't even know if I really want to put him in A. I still think he's good, though. So I will put him in A. But if we're talking, like, who's the most dominant, I'd put here, 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 here. So, okay. Let's move on to DPS. We'll start with Ashe. There's two ways of looking at this. There's regular Ashe, and then there's Ashe with a Mercy Pocket. I think I'm going to mostly talk about Ashe with a Mercy Pocket. Ashe with a Mercy Pocket is really good. Right now. I would say probably low A or mid A, at least with the Mercy Pocket. Without it, probably a B. The thing about Ashe is, look at all the tanks that are good right now. In your GM games, or in my GM games, my top 500 games, and I know it's not true for every rank, but hear me out. Look at the tanks that are being played. Orisa, Zarya, D.Va, Winston. Which one of these are good against Ashe? D.Va, for sure. Is Orisa? Not really. I'd say no. Is Zarya? I'd say no. You have bubbles, but you're going to get headshot a lot. So Orisa and Zarya are going to get farmed by Ashe. Winston's pretty decent, but you need follow-up. So you're going to get poked on the way in, and it's going to be annoying, but I think Winston's still pretty decent. But you need follow-up. If you don't have the follow-up comp, no. D.Va, though. D.Va's the best one. But 1 out of 4 tanks is good against Ashe. So in most situations, she's going to be really good, right? So especially Ashe Mercy that's kind of dominating high ground, has Bob every fight. Ashe pockets are rare unless you're stacking, so B. That's not true at all. I don't know what rank you're playing in, and I don't mean to diss you. I'm just saying that's just most games you see an Ashe on your team, you should probably have a Mercy. And if you don't, then, well, that's just kind of dumb. Anyways, Ashe really good. Bastion. Bastion I would also throw on the A tier. Bastion's really good. So if you don't see, Bastion got like 9 buffs this season. He heals 50 armor when he transforms. Grenade got a bunch of buffs. His ult got buffed. And And if you pick Rein, you just pick Bastion and you just kill him. Like, if they have a Rein player, you just go Bastion and they lose the game. Like, instantly. Even Ram kind of gets rolled by Bastion. Winston kind of gets rolled by Bastion. Sig doesn't really. A little bit, but not really. Ball gets rolled by Bastion. Queen gets rolled by Bastion. Hog gets rolled by Bastion. Orisa doesn't. Zarya can. Zarya definitely can. But a good Zarya probably won't. But Bastion is definitely good here. You just break the bubbles, no fear. Diva's a little bit good against Bastion. So what? 2 out of 4 tanks are okay or good against Bastion, and even then, like, he just does so much damage now. It's like, what's the point, you know? So yeah, Bastion kind of shuts people down really, really hard. Cass, I would say Cass ain't that good this season. I give him a solid C. There's no need for him right now. The meta doesn't favor him. So Cass got a nerf this season to his range on his left click. So he still has the hinder, but nobody's close enough. Like, people aren't playing dive, it's mostly poke. So you're not close enough to really hinder anybody. And except for Wanted, Cass is not that good. Well, Wanted would probably tell you that Cass is not that good right now, I guarantee. If he wasn't memeing. If you asked him, you'd be like, oh, of course. But if you like, no, seriously, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, he's terrible. He has extra HP though, but extra HP doesn't mean anything if he can't get close enough to do damage. It's the Rein theorem. Like, you could give Rein, you make Rein's hammer do 100 damage a swing, and he probably still wouldn't be good because you can't get there to do the damage. So, Cass, same thing. He has extra HP, but he can't do the damage, so there's no point. Echo. I think Echo's pretty good this season. I don't know if I'm ready to give him A tier, but I would definitely give a solid B. Solid B tier for Echo. Even looking at the best tanks right now, Echo pretty good against Orisa. Not like the best, but it's okay. Good against Zarya, not good against Diva, and pretty okay versus Winston. So like 1 out of 4, I'd say this is a net neutral. 1 out of 4, she's not good against. 3 out of 4, she's good against. So I'd give her a solid B. Not the best pick, not the worst either. Definitely good. Could be better, but certain maps, very strong. Very, 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 very strong. Only 4x ult charge is kind of low, though. You're talking about her copy? Her copy is... The way you use her copy is so different now. Like, you actually more or less copy supports. Like, if they have an Ana, you pretty much just copy the Ana. And actually, okay. So if you actually want to play Echo like a pro, the way you play Echo is when you have your ult, you literally flight into their backline. If they have an Ana, you copy on the Ana's head. And then the second you finish the copy, you throw a grenade at her and then kill her. Just insta-kill her. Throw a nade, throw a sleep, left click, she dies. Just delete her. And guess, and if she somehow kills you, you're back out of copy with 100 HP and you just fly away because you have your cooldown ready to go again. You know, that's just kind of how it goes. Genji. I don't think Genji's that good, but I don't think he's that bad either. I'd give him a solid B. Solid B. Can be useful. Certain maps, kind of good. Not nearly as strong as he used to be. But I'd say he's middle of the road. Very much middle of the road. I don't see any problems with him. I think buffing him would probably be a mistake. I think the meta just doesn't favor him. Because we're in poke comp. We're in poke meta. We're not in dive. We're not in rush. So, not really any reason to... Genji. Hanzo. I'd give Hanzo another solid B. Hanzo got a small nerf this season. To where when he pulls the bow back, he tries to go for a wall climb, it like undoes it, which kind of made him a little bit worse, but he's still really good. He's still really, really good. So I wouldn't say he's like A tier like a Bastion, but he definitely has his place. So because it's poke meta, that plays into his style a little bit more. So I give him a solid B. Soldier, I'd give a solid A tier Soldier. Soldier's really, really good. Really, really good. Actually, I'm even debating giving Soldier S tier. Do I give Soldier S tier? Am I really going to do that today? No, I'm going to stick to my guns on this. This is going to be a very controversial end tier list, I can tell. I think this is going to be a very controversial ending. I feel it. Anyways, Soldier kind of good. You just watched me play a game on Soldier. and basically just ran around their backline. There's nothing they could do about it. Soldier does a lot of damage. With a Mercy pocket, it's even scarier. I would argue that Soldier Mercy is scarier than Ashe Mercy nowadays. If we're talking like full pocket, good Soldier does a lot of damage. So yeah, I'd say Soldier's pretty good. Not much else to say there. Just very versatile. Junk. I'm gonna give Junk a C. Junk's very middle of the road. Not that good. Anyways, Junkrat's not that good. He's okay. Like, he definitely the good Junkrat connoisseurs are kind of nuts. But, yeah. So, I wouldn't pick him, but he's alright. Okay, Mei. Just doesn't favor, it's just not her meta. It's just not her meta. This is not her meta. She doesn't do that much damage, and there isn't a reason to have a slow. There just isn't. You look at the tanks that are really good right now. Winston, D.Va, Zarya, Orisa. She's not going to kill the Orisa. She's not the only way she'll kill the Zarya if you get a good wall one or a trapper. So I'll give you one. D.Va flies out. Winston flies out. Just not her meta. Very middle of the road. Doesn't need a buff. Definitely doesn't need a buff. Just not her meta. Just not good for her. So solid C. It's playable. But that's, you know. I know Mei's not that great, but it's not because Mei is bad, it's because the game does not favor her right now. That doesn't mean she needs a buff or a nerf. It just means that the game at this current moment doesn't float her. The same thing happened with Brig a couple seasons ago. When everyone was like, Brig is weak, I was like, guys, Brig's not weak, she's strong. The meta just doesn't favor her. And then she got buffed, and then shoo, it was like a must pick for a whole season. Okay. Next. Pharah. I think Pharah is really good right now. Just a lot of the hit scan are also good. So I'm a little bit reluctant to put her in A. I'll put her in solid B. Solid B. Cass is not that good against her anymore, but Soldier's still really good. Bastion can work. Ashe can kind of work. Soldier's realistically what's keeping this in check more than anything. Soldier kind of keeps Pharah from going wild at the moment. But Pharah's still good. Pharah definitely can be very annoying. Give Pharah more HP? Please, no. No. Reaper. Reaper low-key kind of good. Orisa, Zarya, Winston. This might be a bit of a hot take. Maybe a bit of a hot take, but I think Reaper's slept on this season. I think he's slept on. I think he's good against Zarya. Can be good against Orisa. Good against Winston. Not good against D.Va. 3 out of 4 of the tanks being good against that are the best, I would say that's an argument to be put in A tier. By my own criteria that I've set throughout this tier list, I would say Reaper's really good. And if you have... We had a game the other day. Remember that game the other day that looked like we were going to just like get steamrolled? And I literally said to chat, I was like, well, this is just sometimes how it goes. They swapped off of whatever they were playing, swapped Reaper, and they killed 3 per fight. Why? Because everybody on their whole team was staring at me the entire time and shooting me and hit me with all their buttons. I think, what was I playing? Like Orisa? I don't remember what I was playing. It was either Zarya or Orisa. And he would just TP in their backline and kill 3 every fight. And then he had that one crazy Reaper ult where he killed 5. And I was like, well, you love to see it, you know? Sojourn. I think Sojourn's pretty good. You need a Mercy pocket, though. If you don't have a Mercy pocket, I don't think Sojourn's that good. I'm kind of leaning towards A. But without the Mercy pocket, it's B. You need the Mercy pocket. You can get away with it with Ashe, but you need the Mercy pocket for Sojourn. If I could set like B+, I would probably put Sojourn in a B+, or an A-. She's really good, though. Really good. Just needs the Mercy pocket, though. That's the problem. Sombra. Sombra's at least an A. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go to S. I don't think she's as good as she was last season. Her ult charge is slow. Yeah. Well, yeah, her ult got a few nerfs. She got the ult slow, and then it doesn't kill the tree anymore. So, you know what? This might be a bit of a hot take. I'm going to put Sombra in A tier. I think she's still really, really good, but she's not as strong as she was. I'm going to keep her in A. I'd give her a solid A. She definitely is very good, though, for sure. And if you have a good comp, for sure. But I'm kind of leaving S tier as, like, the pick. Like, if you pick this character, you're probably going to win your games. So, all right. I'm going to give her a solid Symmetra. Map dependent character. Map dependent character can be insanely strong. I'm gonna give her solid B. Niche. Niche character. I wonder if I should make a category called niche at some point. Very niche character. Good on the certain maps where she's good, she's S tier. But if she's not on a map that's broken for her, then she's like C. I think B is probably a safe place. S tier, place turret, go AFK and win. You didn't have to tell everyone in chat that you play in bronze, man. Come on, dude. You didn't have to do that. Speaking of placing turrets, Torb. Maybe a bit controversial. I think Torb's A tier. I think Torb is one of the best picks. Torb is insanely powerful. Have you used his new left click? If you haven't since the changes, his left click does so much damage and is so fast. And if you pop his E, you get extra ammo and the health, and it shoots faster. You literally just like blow people up. I would actually, if I had to pick somebody of the DPS category to put in S tier, I might put Torb. I might put Torb actually as the S tier. I think he's good everywhere now. I don't know if I want to do it yet. Let me think about it. Tracer. Tracer's a tough one. I think Tracer's still really good. For sure. Really, really good. But I don't think I'd put her in S tier anymore. I don't think she's S tier. And there's a reason for that. Remember we were just talking about one meta's favorite characters? Dive's not really that strong right now. It's poke comps. So, Tracer's still really good, but you're playing Tracer like if you have like a Winston. And you don't have a Winston all that often, because Diva, Zarya, Orisa are just way better. Like, you can still make the Winston Tracer comps work, for sure, but there's not a reason to, because we're going to get to support here in a minute. And that's genuinely what's keeping, I think, the poke meta, is support. Widow, last one up. I think Widow's still pretty good. Widow can dominate lobbies, but definitely much harder than it used to be. So Widow, I think, is still very, very good. Just not as, I don't know, what's the word? Dominant, I guess? This is where things are going to get a little spooky. And this is where it gets a little spicy. A little spicy. Alari would have easily been S tier, but however, after the nerfs, I would say she's about A tier. The nerfs were kind of heavy, but that doesn't mean she's bad. Her ult is easier to counter now, with like Diva is a good example. Orisa, so there was technically a nerf to the size of it, but that just made the hitbox smaller, which means it's harder to eat now. So Orisa doesn't eat it as well, but she's still really good. She does a lot of damage, and she can do a lot of healing over time. But she's not quite as strong as she was before the nerfs. So because of that reason, I cannot put her in S tier. I cannot. She's still really good, though. Really good. Ana. I think game in and game out, Ana is still really good. Game in and game out, Ana is still really good. Do I put her in S? Yep. Ana just has a lot in her kit. It's not exactly a bad thing. It's just she does everything. She does good damage, really good healing. Her nade is still really strong. Sleep dart's still strong. Her ult's still strong. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I just think Ana is still arguably the best support in the game. And there's something scary about Ana. Really scary about Ana. Is if you pair Ana with a certain scary support, she becomes unkillable. I don't think I'm going to put Brig in S. I think I'll put Brig in A. Just because it's poke meta now. But before this meta, Brig was insane with Ana. If the enemy team tries to go Winston Diva, either one, Winston Diva dive comps, you just select this character and win. So I think that's an argument and maybe for S. But she's not, nah. No, I'm gonna hold firm. I'm gonna say a solid A. Solid A. Maybe an A+. Because, yeah, she's not great against poke, which is why I don't want to put her in S tier. But she shuts everything else down. So, like, in an ideal world, dive should beat poke. However, Brig kind of gatekeeps that. So you actually can't get into a dive meta with how good Brig is. So, Lifeweaver. You know what? Give me a minute. I'm gonna rank Lifeweaver last. I want to do Kiri. Kiri is still insane. Kiri's still insane. She's still really good. Her nerfs did hurt her. She definitely got hurt by the nerfs. I still think she's insane, though. I think Kiri's still really, really good. You can pick Kiri game in and game out. Brig, you can't pick game in and game out. Kiri, you can. If you want to pick Kiri every game, you can make it work. Kiri is good against 1, 2, 3, arguably 4 of these characters. Diva's not going to go solo killer. Winston's not going to go solo killer. Marissa's not killing her. Zarya can, but the TP away. Like, if you focus the Kiri, she's gonna kite you around and you're not gonna do anything. She's not scared. She's not weak against Ashe. If anything, she's good against Ashe. Bastion, I wouldn't say you want to fight a Bastion as a Kiri, but you can just TP away / cleanse and you buy enough time to kill him. Soldier, you actually win those 1v1s a lot. Close. Reaper, I would argue you don't want to take that fight, but you can win it. Sombra, actually I would say that Kiri probably helps gatekeep Sombra pretty well. Because Sombra coming to uncloak in your backline, you hit her with a quick headshot, she's almost dead. She's really good. She's insanely good at the highest level. Torb, I wouldn't say Kiri's good against Torb, but Kiri's good against Tracer. You just need a headshot body shot now instead of headshot melee.
Going for 8 months.
Thanks to 17 months. I think she has to be S. I think she has to be. I don't think there's a choice. I think she's a character you can pick game in and game out and win, and you don't really need to swap for her. So for that reason, I'd give her a solid S. Lucio. Lucio, I'd give a solid A. I think there's certain maps in certain comps you can run at Lucio and be insane, but however, though, it's a poke meta. So a lot of times you don't actually want to do that. But when you do play Lucio, he's still really good. He's still really, really, really good. You just can't play Lucio like you're standing there. You have to W key in. So at that point, you have to understand. The reason why I'm going to give Lucio A is because good Lucio players and actually understanding what to do will still perform well. But the average Lucio player doesn't know how to play aggressive. They just stand still. You have to W key with your team. That doesn't make him bad, though. I think that just makes... he's kind of team... Like, you play as a team with Lucio. But with poke comps, like, poke meta is when you get most of the people who don't join voice and don't talk, because there's no point. You just sit there and AFK. I'd say Lucio's still pretty damn good. Moira. Alright, let's go and get a little spicy. Lucio barely heals. Dude, you didn't have to tell on yourself. If you're sitting there trying to heal on Lucio, you're probably in bronze. No offense. Because that's not how you play Lucio. That's literally incorrect. Moira, I think, is at least an A tier. I think Moira's insane. I think Moira's really good now. In ranked. Not pro play, scrim play. In actual ranked, she does so much now. And this whole game is basically team deathmatch now. That's what poke metas are. They're team deathmatch. So Moira kind of slays. You know, you catch somebody on the side for a 1v1, She does a lot of healing. She does a lot of damage. She's kind of pesky. She builds her ult quickly. And honestly, all the DPS, all the supports, I said DPS looking at them. All the supports do a lot of damage now. I think she's pretty good. If people don't panic, who does she beat in a 1v1? What do you mean? It's not about just, like, okay. If you genuinely believe Overwatch is a game about standing there and 1v1ing each other like it's Call of Duty, that's not how it works. She literally sneaks up on you half the time. You're already taking a little bit of damage. She walks into the side. By the time you notice her, you're already down in 50 HP. You start shooting her. She threw an orb at you. Now you're down to 100. Yeah, she's down to 100. But now she faded, and you're like, where the f did she go? And then she already came back. Her support passive already kicked in. Now she's at 170 health, and she kills you. So you're talking 1v1 like as if they're both going to stand there and just hit all their abilities. That's not how actual Overwatch works, though. And the range she has is insane. So, real talk, I think Moira slept on really hard for ranked. Mercy. I think Mercy's probably the shit end of the stick right now, in terms of support. The problem is she just makes whoever she's pocketing just miserable to play against. So, because of that, I think she's still really good. I think she's still really good just because she makes somebody unkillable. And it makes them annoying as shit to play against. And it's so weird. It's so weird. Because her as a character kind of sucks now. She kind of sucks. But, like, the ability she has to turn one good player into a god for the rest of the game is so powerful that you just take over the lobby. They just take over the lobby. You know? And everyone's had the experience. Tell me you haven't had the experience where the insane DPS player is actually rolling the whole lobby with a Mercy pocket. We've all been there. We've literally all been there. It's happened to all of us. And you feel powerless and you don't know what to do. And you need your own Mercy pocket sometimes to defeat that. Like if you're a DPS player, and you're playing against someone pocketed and you're getting rolled, you might need a pocket to fight them back, right? So we've all had it happen to us. That's why Mercy's good. Not saying the character's good, but what she enables is so powerful, she has to be ranked pretty high. Zen. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Zen's pretty good right now. There's a reason for that. Look at these characters here. Good against Orisa, and Orisa's really strong. So you play Zen versus Orisa. Zarya. Zen's pretty good against Zarya. Poke meta. You force her bubbles, put Discord on her. You get some good shots on her. You can really force her down. Plus, you have Transcendence for Graph. That's the old school combo. Transcendence for Graph. Let's bet against Zen will never end, to be honest. So, okay, so we're not going to talk about this whole, like, hour that I've gone over every single character and talked about why they're good, why they're bad. You're just going to focus in because I've talked about why Discord Orb is not healthy for versus tank players in this game. God, I wish I was that stupid. Life would probably be so easy. It would probably be so easy. Like, there's a reason why they say ignorance is bliss. My God. Anyways, Zen is probably easy A tier. I wouldn't give him S because I think Winston can still shit on him. And D.Va can also kind of do a little bit. But, like, you're not really playing aggressive D.Va anymore. You know what I mean? Bap. Bap's an easy A. Actually, I might even put Bap in S. Bap is f***ing killable. I'm gonna throw him an S. I don't care. Bap's ungoddamn killable. He has 3 health pools. 3! He has his main one. Then he has his shift, where if he's below 50% health, he gets double the healing. So he gets a 100 burst. And then, not only that, he then has Lamp. So then you have to kill the Lamp. So if you're fighting a Bap, you get his health low, then he pops his shift, and then you get him low again, he pops the immortality, you have to shift targets, shoot the immortality, shoot back, and then finish the Bap. And that's not if the support passive is kicked in at that point. He just doesn't die, and he does as much damage as many of the DPS characters. He does tons of healing, which is, I don't think the healing is the problem. He does plenty of damage, which I don't think that's totally the problem either. He has good mobility, he can jump away, he has 3 health bars, and his window is insanely good in poke comps, which is what we're in right now. Poke comps, window goes crazy. Window's insanely strong in poke comps. Because of those reasons, I think Bap is a character you can pick on any map, in any comp, and make it work. By that definition, I have to give him S tier. So, anyways. Lifeweaver. This is a tough one. Lifeweaver's a tough one, because I think he's still pretty damn good now. I think he's pretty damn good. I think he's annoying as shit to play against. I would argue that a pocketed character by a Lifeweaver is harder to kill than a pocketed character by a Mercy. I would say that a pocketed character by a Lifeweaver is harder to kill than a pocketed Mercy character. No shot? How not? He does 75 healing per burst, and he does it like once a second. Mercy does 55 healing. It's auto-aim. It's impossible to miss. I think that he has so many tools now to stay alive. He does so much healing that the healing numbers have creeped so high. I think he's pretty good. I think you can play Lifeweaver in a lot of games and win. His tree is a fight-winning ultimate. You know what his tree is? His tree is Old Rally. Tell me it's not. Tell me his tree isn't Old Rally. It literally is. His tree is Old Rally on roids. It does more healing. It has 1200 HP. It has a same size AoE, and it overheals you. It is better than Old Rally. Which, by the way, a lot of people said Old Rally was really broken until New Rally hit, and then after like 2 months, everyone realized, oh, Brig's actually really good. Point is, though, I think that the power creep in general has gotten so high that you can make it work. You can just sit there and just spam heals, especially if you're in your bronze to like gold ranks. Bronze to gold, dude. Tell me the bronze to gold players that are in here, you don't just sit here on Lifeweaver and just pumps healing into your tank and they just never die, right? Isn't that just like how the game's played right now in those ranks? You just sit there and pump them, just pump them non-stop, just nobody dies. He does so much healing. But the point is, Lifeweaver was kind of susceptible to dive. He's not really that much anymore because he has like the extra healing from his shift, his pedal. Like he's gotten number buffs over time. And in poke, he doesn't do a lot of poke damage, but he just does so much healing. Like, honestly, like you can kind of out heal things that are trying to kill your teammates, you know? Let's say you're playing Illari Lifeweaver, and the turret happens to focus the person that you're healing. You're doing over 100 healing per second to somebody, right? And that's with your Illari still doing damage and still having her own 120 healing per second beam if she chooses to put it on somebody. Ana, same thing. Kyrie a little bit less. Bap, same thing. The numbers are so high. They're so high. I think I have to give him A. So, what does this tier list tell you? What does this tier list tell you? It tells you that if you play support, there isn't really a bad pick in the game. They don't really exist. There isn't a bad pick. There's picks that can not work in certain situations. Like if you have a Mercy and you have like Genji Sombra, yeah, that's probably a bad idea. But you also have Genji Sombra, which is probably a bad idea that you're even running Mercy because you're running a dive comp, you know? So that's totally different. But in almost every situation, you have something to pick and you're gonna perform well. If you're on tank, you realistically have 4 choices. Kind of 5 if you include Sigma on like Circle Royale. 4 choices. Orisa, Zarya, Diva are your main 3. And then you have Winston as your like X Factor pocket pick. And if you're on DPS, same thing. You have your Soldier pocket picks, your Bastion pocket picks, your Torb pocket picks, Sombra Tracer. Those are all good. Widow can be a nice pocket pick. But you don't have like a dominant DPS right now. But there's multiple dominant supports. multiple. So I'm not really sure. Worst tier list imaginable. I expect nothing less from a TikTok chatter. Actually, nothing less.